Hi, Ady Macauley. You are a lawyer and an aspiring presidential candidate of the APC, the main opposition party in Sierra Leone. How are you doing today?
I am doing very well, Peter. How are you too?
I'm well, thank you. But there's a troubling news that I'm hearing in Sierra Leone about drug use, Kush, as some people call it in the marketplace. What do you know about this and how are people reacting to it?
Peter, Sierra Leone is facing a severe national crisis caused by the rapid spread of Kush, a dangerous synthetic drug used by young people. The situation has escalated purely seriously into a public health crisis, a social and security emergency, with widespread consequences for the country's development and stability.
Now, the question is how are individual members of the Sierra Leonean society, including families, helping to try to combat this problem that you describe as a national crisis?
In the past few weeks, the mayor of Freetown, Ivona Kisoya, basically did put out a statement wherein she said, in the past 1 month, about 222 destitute dead people were, taken away from the streets of Freetown, buried. And the cause of death, according to her, was as a result of Kush use. And that has been a point of controversy between ourselves and the Minister of Internal Affairs. So it's a very serious issue. And there has been serious national awareness because the consequences of the use of Kush is seen everywhere. I mean, it turns young people into zombies. So everyone is in a state of alert. Everyone in Sierra Leone, I can tell you, is now a vigilante.
Well, I understand that it cuts across both the haves and the have nots, both the high in society and low in society, as they say in Sierra Leone. How widespread is this problem?
It is quite widespread, mostly, between people that are within the 15 to 35, demography. And, the government has, taken notice of the emergency that we face. A year ago or so, the President of the Republic, President Julius Maada Bio, declared a state of emergency, but things did not get better. Things got worse. And I can tell you, Peter, the government struggle to control Kush epidemic has been hindered by several strategic, structural, and policy shortcomings.
What
While
do you
the
mean? What do you
authorities
mean by that? What do you mean? Can you give me specific examples?
Okay, so while the authorities have recognized the crisis and taken serious steps, the overall response has been quite reactive, fragmented, and under resourced. Um, for example, we have basically three institutions that deal with Kush in terms of the law enforcement angle. That is the Sierra Leone Police Force, the Transnational Organized Crimes Unit, which is called TUKU, and the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. They have staffing problems, but particularly they've got funding problems. Like the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, their budget for the year 2025, it is reported to be below $100,000. Given the magnitude of the problem we face, I believe serious resources should have been poured in to tackle the issue. And as you know, it's not just youth being exuberant. Mostly 60% of Sierra Leonean youths are unemployed. So they have nothing to do. For some of them, they are graduates from the universities without jobs. And some of them find the use of Kush as an escape from their everyday troubles and problems. And, urban poverty has also exacerbated that particular problem.
Well, the issue is that Many have credited the government of stepping up efforts, including investigations into those who are behind exporting or getting the drugs to people. Recently, I heard reports where two people have been, charged with distribution or importing this drug. What is the current situation on the ground, Adi?
Well, and this is one of the things, or one of the reasons why I believe that the government has gotten it wrong, because they treat Kush, the crisis, as primarily a law enforcement issue instead of a public health concern and socioeconomic challenges. The absence of a unified national strategy, weak rehabilitation infrastructure. I mean, just a few weeks ago, some of the Kush rehabilitation centers have to shut down because they do not have money to run them. And failure to address youth unemployment, as I alluded earlier, have all undermined the progress. So a shift towards prevention, treatment, and empowerment, with support from the central government and a buy-in from the population will help and go a long way in addressing the issue of Kush.
So the question is, what are families also doing to help with efforts to help combat this Kush epidemic?
I can tell you, they've families are being decimated. Don't forget, one of the consequences of Kush is the complete destruction of the family structure. I mean, when married couple, one of them gets involved in use of Kush, they end up leaving the home, abandoning the family, children, and they stay in the street. There is no one to fend for the family, and that family becomes a dysfunctional family. And again, more problems for society because the children without a father in the home are going to fall on the wayside, just like the father has fallen on the wayside. The problem has gotten so serious, Peter, that parents are reporting their kids to the police that are using Kush or that are selling Kush. It is that bad.
So, Adi, let me ask you, with your understanding of the problem, as analysts would say, is part of finding solutions to the problem. What do you think can be done as it is now in order to help resolve the problem Sierra Leoneans face?
Firstly, Peter, we've got to look at the Kush epidemic beyond a drug problem. It is a symptom of deep economic and social distress. Addressing it requires a united national effort combining healthcare, law enforcement, education, and social reform. Without decisive action, I'll tell you, the crisis threatens to undermine the country's progress and the well being of its next generation. So, for me, I believe government investing in law enforcement goes a very long way. We've got very porous land borders, and this is where most of the Kush is being, you know, transported. And the problem of Kush is now being exported in the region. And the Liberian side, the Guinean side, every day you will hear the Guinean authorities or the Liberian authorities telling us that they've caught people smuggling Kush from Sierra Leone into their country. But just yesterday, the Sierra Leonean authorities on our side also caught people from the Republic of Guinea bringing in Kush and other tramadol and tramadol and other synthetic drugs. So it is a Mano River Union problem. And I think an international response is required here. And I will prevail on my president to lead that effort, being the chairman of ECOWAS. He can galvanize support from other member states to see that we have a unified policy on how, firstly, to deal with the symptoms that are causing the consumption of Kush. They be unemployment, economy, urban poverty, and also come together and see how they can put together a serious security plan and border control plans to combat the trafficking of Kush. But it is a serious problem that has both economic, social, and national security concerns. Because wherever there is drugs, Peter, there will be guns, and wherever there is drugs, people who want to wash or launder their money, money laundering will become a fact of the day. So all these are social malaise that can really, really affect not only the economy of the country, but also the reputation of the country. We have Sierra Leoneans that are traveling out of the country reporting that they have been subjected to enhanced security checks when they reach international borders. And that is not good for the people of this country.
Well, we'll end this conversation here. We'll continue another time, definitely. We hope that the problem in Sierra Leone is resolved quickly, since you have described this as a national crisis. I hope the authorities will take a cue from what you're saying and bring the problem to a halt. We thank you very much, Ady Macauley, lawyer and a presidential aspirant of the main opposition APC in Sierra Leone. Thank you very much for
Oh,
giving us a bit of
thank you,
information.
Peter. I do appreciate.
Thank you. Thank you.